Hey, lovely people, how you doing? Welcome to this series of video blogs I'm going to be doing. Um, I'm going to call these messages from medicine. I'm going to call them messages from medicine because really these are my experiences with plant medicine uh, in a way of visions that I've received, and I really feel now is the time to get these messages out. It's a time when this world is under we as a mankind are under a great deal of uncertainty. There's a lot of fear running around everywhere. Life, I don't think for any of us is going to be the same as it has been once we come out of what we're going through right now. And because of that, we are going to need a direction. We're going to need to know where to put our faith, our soul, our light, our love, our trust. And a lot of us, I feel, are putting that trust into a system that's going to carry on the same. And we can't do that. We have an opportunity to bring change. And it's that change that brings me to do these vlogs. So over the next, hopefully once a week or once every couple of weeks, I'm going to bring one of these out. And it'd be great if you can all share these vlogs, but also write down your experiences. Write down how you feel about what I've said, or your experience of hope, or of faith, or love, or light. Just the same as my experiences, we all have them, and we have to bring these together. And as we bring these together, it's going to start to form a direction that hopefully will bring us a wholeness back into ourselves, so we can stand up and say, you know what, this isn't good for me anymore. Maybe I'm going to do this a different way. Maybe it's going to be uncomfortable at first because the unfamiliar is always uncomfortable at the beginning. So, welcome to Messages of Medicine. I want to share with you today a story about a hope. And as many of you know, in ceremony, when I'm in ceremony, a lot of what I talk about is in metaphors. And it's in this way that I'm going to bring you these stories. I'm going to bring you these messages and understanding, because I really feel in that way it can run really deep through you and you can really feel those messages. I want to start with a story about a ceremony I once had. It was a daytime ceremony many years ago. And it was a daytime ceremony. And in that ceremony, not everything was going really good for me. I was actually confronted by a lot of my ego, and my wife was there in that ceremony, and she has a quite a direct way of pointing that out, and and I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit that it was getting pointed out the way it was, because it was really uh, pushing my buttons, and she knows really well how to do that, especially in ceremony. And to make me look at what I'm doing and why. What I did in that moment was I left the ceremony area. I took my drum and I went down this little hill, and I started to drum, and I was just trying to drum and get all this kind of aggression out and kind of fucking. And I felt someone coming closer from behind me. So I looked behind, and there was a 19-year-old boy at that time. His name was Adrian. And if you're watching, Adrian, hi, how you doing, brother? And and he came along, and he was in the medicine as well. But I failed to kind of realize that in that time. And he came up to me and he said, Mack, is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, everything's fine. You know how we do, like, we don't want to upset somebody. Instead of just being truthful about how we're really feeling in that moment, We want to kind of cover that up and say, yeah, everything's fine, yeah. And I did that, and then I decided I'm not going to do that. And I turned around to him and I looked at him and I said, actually, I'm not okay right now. Like, what are you going to do? But I didn't say that. And he could feel my energy really kind of protruding out from me. And he took a step back and he was like, you know what, I'll let you do your thing. And he started walking away, and I was like, good, fuck off. And I grabbed my drum and I was just about to start drumming. And I heard him say from the top of the hill, he said to me, Mack, there's always hope. And I was like, what the fuck does he know about hope? He's a 19-year-old boy. What does he know about hope? I was twice his age almost at that time. And I was like, yeah, okay, all right. And I carried on drumming and I wore myself out. I wore my energy out. I walked back up that hill and I apologized to my wife. And I said, I'm sorry for being an ass. And I dealt with that part of my ego. And I didn't think anything of it. And about 3 years later, I got introduced to a medicine called Iboga. And for those of you who haven't experienced Iboga or haven't heard of it, it's a plant medicine from Central and West Africa. It's a very, very strong medicine. The visions are very, very strong and clear within that medicine. And I entered a ceremony of Iboga a few years. So about 3 years after that time, I entered this ceremony. And this medicine showed me what's going to happen if we all wake up, and not everybody has to drink plant medicine. We're going to wake up as a consciousness, as a being, as a mankind, as a people. And when we wake up, it's going to come with an understanding of a knowing of what is right and what is wrong, what is appropriate and what isn't. And we're just going to know. We're going to know, and there's going to be enough of us out there who are going to help the others who maybe need a little bit of guidance. But we're going to all be coming from this place. And so the visions I had with this medicine were really, really clear, really strong about what's going to happen when we all wake up. It was really beautiful. It was going really beautiful until I got kind of dragged into the bottom of the earth, and then I got shown what's going to happen if we don't wake up. If we don't make changes, what's going to happen in this world? We're forcing a hand for an understanding of security, and we're giving away our soul for it. It's a complete denial of who and what we really are and what we're capable of as a species. And it really hit me hard, that vision of I was the last person on the earth. There was some other people, but I was the only person that was awake. Everybody else was not awake. We were living in a place where people were just eating out of the bins. But it wasn't just the homeless, everybody was eating out of the bins this way. We were hopeless and helpless. It was a really hard thing to see, because it's not just a vision of you're watching like in a movie, but you feel it. You feel the despair, the emptiness, the hollowness, the complete we've given away everything, and there is nothing more that we can give away, and we are clambering on to a sense of wanting to just forget where we are, with drugs, with alcohol, with a lot of other substances. And so when I came out of that ceremony, I didn't really reconcile that part, and I couldn't because it hit me so hard. I didn't realize in that moment I had closed my heart. I'd really closed my heart because it scared the shit out of me. I came home after those 3 days, and I started smoking again. I started really losing my shit. And it came a few days later. After that, I sat on the sofa. I hadn't really slept much. And that's when I started to cry. I started to cry for us as humans, as a species, as a consciousness. I started to cry. I lay in my wife's lap and I just started to really, really cry. And in that moment, I opened my heart again. And the moment I opened my heart, it was like I was in that ceremony all over again. The visions came back and I was full on. This was 6 days after I had first embarked on Iboga. And what I had done in that ceremony, when I saw all that destruction, all that hate, all that uncertainty, all that fear, is I'd closed my heart. And in this moment, when I started to cry, I broke. I broke down. I started to cry, and I started to open my heart all over again. And when I did that, the medicine came, and she showed me a vision of that boy, that 19-year-old boy called Adrian, who said to me, "Mack, you know there's always hope. There's always hope." And the bit I completely forgot about it was that we have this inside us all the time. All we got to do is really open our heart. Hope is that spark on that lighter that lights the flame. Hope is the fire starter. Without hope, we have nothing. It's going to open our hearts to love, to light, to understanding. It's going to open our hearts to saying, you know what? Shit's been happening. My life's not going the way I want. Everything outside's not going the way I want. But I'm not going to live in fear. I'm not going to live in despair. I'm going to live in hope. And for me, if I'm the last person on this earth, I will do that in the face of fear, in the face of destruction, in the face of uncertainty. I will live in hope. Hope is the fire lighter. It is the spark on the lighter that lights that flame. And I hope this message of hope really reaches you. I hope this message of hope you really feel, and that no matter the uncertainty that's happening right now in life, you can start to really believe in hope in this way, in a way that it resonates inside you. I wish you all well. I wish you a life full of hope, a life full of peace, a life full of harmony. And thank you for listening to this part of Messages from the Medicine. And I'll catch up with you again maybe in about a week or maybe 2 weeks from now. And welcome. And thank you for listening. Aho.